Welcome everybody to this webinar. And first of all, thank you for coming and joining and taking time out of your busy day to join this webinar. My name is Bora Brandstrom, and I'm joined by four great individuals that we will introduce very soon. I am your host for this webinar that's going to last 90 minutes. And it's around effective marketing communications with Salesforce. And the goal is really, really simple. It's to fill up your toolbox with tools and insights that you need to utilize effective marketing communication in Salesforce. But before we start, just some hygiene. So we're going to have four wonderful, experienced speakers that is going to share great insights and tools. And during this time, if you have questions, please do prepare them in the chat. So you will not be able to ask questions audio, but you will be able to do it in the chat. So do feel free to put them in the chat during the presentations. And at the end of each presenter's presentation, I will read out questions to the presenter and they will answer verbally to you. Okay, and it will be about 5 minutes after each presentation to take questions, right? And then at the end, there will be an opportunity to take a few more questions that's more kind of across the different subjects that you've heard about. So do feel free to start putting those questions into the chat and I will ask the presenters to answer them. Okay, good. So without further ado, let's get started. The first presenter is Neil Hayek. So Neil is a product manager in Salesforce Experience Cloud. He's been at Salesforce for 15 years and has been part of the Experience Cloud since it was first created and called Community Cloud 10 years ago. He's been a product manager working on content authoring for Salesforce CMS for the past 4 years. Neil, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for that introduction. Yep, my name is Neil Hayek, and I'm in Experience Cloud. And I do want to note that many of you may have known it as Community Cloud. We've changed the name 2020, actually, because we felt Experience Cloud more closely is aligned with our charter. Segue into our charter. Our goal at Experience Cloud is to deliver a platform that supports the digital imperative, especially in the last few years, the need for digital has expanded worldwide. So, while talking about our mission for Experience Cloud, starting that over. Let me move tools here. So our goal is to support the digital imperative, as I said, through a variety of tools. We want to be a platform to support this. And especially in the last few years, the digital imperative has expanded worldwide. So our goal is to support the entire customer lifecycle. So we want to provide the ability to affect them to build awareness through campaign microsites, through landing pages. We want to be able to help you acquire customers, such as through storefronts. Once customers are acquired, we want you to be able to help them through account portals and help centers, forums, etc. And also, of course, to retain your customers through loyalty apps. So we want to help throughout the life cycle, and we want to help across digital experiences. So emails, websites, mobile, etc. That is our imperative, why we want to build the Experience Cloud platform. An integral part to any of these experiences is the content. So this is an area I've been working on. You heard in the introduction, I've been working on the content authoring aspect of it. So well, Experience Cloud has been around for nearly 10 years. It had been focused more on the site creation side, and newer in the last few years, we've been focusing more on the content creation aspect to bring the two together, to build the end-to-end picture for creating your site and other experiences. So CMS, the authoring aspect allows you to create a variety of content, such as news articles, blogs, announcements that you might have in either emails or websites or social media. We are built for many use cases, but one of our major focuses as of late has been around marketers. And you'll see that you see what's new is these microsites. They're actually new this year. I'll be talking a bit more about that. So microsites, and I'm going to show you how content and microsites work together to enable marketers without any code to be able to create the content and publish it to a site. So Salesforce CMS, we consider it a hybrid CMS. What does that mean? Some CMS systems are considered a headless CMS system, which means they are meant to be used in conjunction with other applications, say other software, often developer focused, in order to create content in one place and utilize it elsewhere. And in contrast to that, there are some CMS systems where the content creation is tightly coupled for a use case, such as creating content for an email or creating content for a website. With Salesforce CMS, we want to support both use cases, which is why we are considered a hybrid CMS. So one of our goals is to allow you to create content in only one place and syndicate it for all of these other use cases. You can see a list here of both websites. They could just be like your .com website. They could be your storefront. Emails, social, mobile applications. These are tools that we could actually work as Salesforce. We could act as a headed or headless CMS, depending on if you want to use Salesforce's offerings for sites and emails, etc. If you have your own use cases, external applications, kiosk as it shows down there on the bottom, this is where you can use our headless channel. And within one workspace, you're able to publish to all of these. You can control it. I'm going to talk to you a bit more about workspaces in a moment. I want to talk to you a bit more about microsites. Again, one of the latest offerings to CMS. Microsites are great because they enable marketers to launch a site. It says within minutes, and you technically could do it in minutes. I'd say hours a bit more realistic, but you could do it without code, which is the amazing thing, and you could achieve some great results for a variety of use cases. You can leverage kind of the whole platform, the Experience Cloud that's been building for 10 years, this platform, and the Salesforce platform, which has been being built for over 20 years. So with just this newest offering that we have, it unlocks a whole bunch of potential, decades of potential, I would say. And one of the tenets for this is we need, one of the focuses of Experience Cloud as of late has been to be able to scale for all these additional use cases. So for those a bit more familiar with it, you might have heard that we have a runtime called LWR. And this is called Lightning Web Component Runtime. And this is meant to support higher scale and faster page load times. And this template is built on top of that. Now, I'm going to walk you through some of the tools to show you end-to-end how you can go from creating content to putting on a website. To start off with, we're in our Digital Experiences app. So this is the homepage of where you can create content or create sites. Here you're able to see CMS workspaces and sites. A workspace is where you're going to author the content. So this is where you create articles, news, blogs, etc. Whereas the sites are where you're going to be, hopefully self-explanatory, creating your site for the variety of use cases you saw in my first slide. So digging in a bit more to the workspace. So workspace is where you could create a workspace for any organizational purposes you have. It could be based off of team, it could be based off of region. A workspace controls who can create content in it and what are their permissions. And it especially controls where you publish content to. So that slide a few slides ago, where it showed syndicating content to different channels for different use cases, that's controlled here in the workspace home. You see a publication calendar, so you can schedule when the content is published to these different channels. Looking at the bottom part, you could see different content types. So this is the shape of your content. You see news and images in the screenshot. You can create custom types, though, to fit your needs. So a blog might be more advanced, an announcement might be simpler than news. That's up to you. So drilling into what content looks like. So when you choose to create new content, this is actually content that's already been created. When you choose to create it, these fields are going to be editable. At the moment, this is published content, so it is not editable. From the content page is where you're going to create content. It's also where you'll see translations. You can see there's a tab for it right over here. You can preview your content on your site. You can see the history of your content as well. I want you to pay attention to the parts that are highlighted because you'll see how the content goes from this structure. This is kind of a form structure. It doesn't look too fancy, and this is intentional. The reason is because, again, the content can be syndicated to multiple channels. So of this content, you might want to display more of it in an email or website than you do in, say, an SMS message. So in this example, highlighting the title of this new coffee machine, the picture of the coffee machine in the excerpt. Those are the fields that you're going to see here when creating our microsite. So this is our Experience Builder tool. And this is the tool that's been worked on for several years, longer than the content authoring aspect, for those familiar with it. It's a very powerful tool. It's a WYSIWYG tool for building your website, and it's based off of templates and components. So a template is an important term because what we introduced most recently is this marketing template. The template controls the structure of your website. So you'll see that it has a banner on top. It has components listed for presenting content. I don't have it in the screenshot here. There's a navigation bar. The template will get you is what helps you get where you need very quickly when creating a site. And while we have a marketing template for that use case, there's other templates for customer service, commerce, and on the Salesforce App Exchange, there's even templates built by partners and others that they've shared that you're able to do. So a variety of ways to get started, again, without code. And in here, it's only a screenshot, so I can't show so much of this. Those options on the left-hand side over here allows you to add more components to the page. Components can represent a variety of things. You could just have, say, an HTML rich text component if you want to create something custom. You could pull in data from other parts of Salesforce as well. Behind the scenes, you're able to personalize this. So you could say that I want an unauthenticated user to view one thing or an authenticated user to view another, or people from this region or that region to view different content. So it's a very powerful and established platform. And it has nearly 70,000 sites, last I recall, and it actually might be some old info running on this platform. So again, comparing the previous slide where you just saw the title and the image, it didn't look too fancy inside of the authoring. But here is where, when you go to this component, this is a content component, and you could say, I want an image to be displayed here, and I want the title and the excerpt to be displayed. And this is, of course, customizable, and you could change the layout of it. You could change what information is displayed. Again, this very powerful tool to enable marketers to create this site without any code. This is the experience. This is the kind of builder tool of it. Just wanted to show you a glimpse of how the final site looks. So again, it looks pretty similar. I mentioned that there is a navigation bar. So this is just one example. This is just one layout for one use case, say marketing a new product. Microsites can be used for a variety of use cases. Blogs, for example, this will look very different if you wanted to be hosting a lot of blogs. And you could have both. You could have a tab on the top. So you have a page for your landing page for your products. You could have promotional blogs or events, for example. It can be a multi-page site. So one of the differences between microsites and some of the other offerings we have either at Salesforce or through other like landing page offerings. With that, I hope I was clear enough, but I'm going to be happy to take questions. That's all I have to present. So open for questions.
Great. Thank you, Neil, for sharing that. So if you have questions, do drop them in the chat. We have 5 minutes where we can do questions. So drop them in the chat and I'll happily read them to Neil. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat, either private or in the general chat, and I will run them by Neil. So Neil, let's just give people a few more minutes. And so here's one, Neil. How do microsites in Experience Cloud compare with cloud pages in Marketing Cloud?
All right. Yep. So I was actually Good time for that question. So I was just mentioning that about a microsite can be multiple pages. That's one difference. To be a bit more thorough, cloud pages are meant to be more like a landing page. They're good for lighter weight use cases, and they're good when you don't have any additional data for your customer. So you have a new campaign, you want to promote just one page, a bit of information. Works well for that use case. A microsite can be used for that, but it could also be expanded for other use cases. So it could be multiple pages. It could be more interactive than just a landing page to be informative. It could be data driven from data within Marketing Cloud, Sales Cloud, or other parts of Salesforce. Plus, it has out-of-the-box integration with Salesforce CMS, as I showed you. So through clicks, you can create a landing page while leveraging your content. So it also has integration with other clouds of Salesforce, rather well, like Sales Cloud is, again, so you could personalize your data or you could present data relevant to your customers. So I'd say a landing page is more lightweight. A microsite could have more complexity.
Okay, thank you. A question here from Håkan. Are there any SEO functionality?
Yeah, so I didn't show the administrative aspect of it, but yeah, certainly it's top priority for any site. We know it. There is SEO capabilities.
Okay, super. Another one here. So what is the future vision for Salesforce CMS?
So actually, since this is a well-timed presentation, just last month, we exposed a bit of our vision. With our latest release, the spring release, we announced the beta for what we call enhanced workspaces. So if you've seen CMS, then we played around with the application. I would invite you to check out our enhanced workspaces. We started CMS a few years ago, about 4 years ago, as the introduction said, and I was there at the start. And we thought we were going to be supporting Community Cloud at the time, so kind of limited use cases. But as we were building it, there were many other use cases, both within Community Cloud, now Experience Cloud, as well as other parts of Salesforce. And this caused us to kind of have to rethink about our platform. So we've been working for about the past 2 years on creating a new platform, and we decided to call it Enhanced Workspaces, currently in beta. One of the tenets for this new platform is around extensibility. It's going to be very extensible. Plugins that both customers and developers could plug into, as well as extensible for other parts of Salesforce. So you're going to be seeing more integration of our CMS with parts of Salesforce, and that's I'd say those are the main aspects of the vision.
Neil, thank you. Thank you for the presentation, and thank you for answering those questions.
Certainly.
So let's move over to the next presenter. So the next person is Maziar Nodehi. Maziar is the co-founder and CRO of Venizum, where I also sit as the chairman. With his 10 plus years of experience within sales and marketing, he truly has a passion for streamlining and optimizing enterprise clients' marketing processes. He describes himself as a Salesforce nerd. That's a new one, Maziar, and loves to find gaps in the Salesforce ecosystem that needs to be filled. Today, he will walk us through how to do translation and localization in Salesforce. Maziar, over to you.
Thank you for that, Bora. Can you just confirm, Bora, that my screen is shared?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you. So yes, thank you for that intro. As Bora said, my name is Maziar. I'm one of the co-founders of Venizum, together with what I call the big brain, Håkan Sjöberg. Basically, we are a layer of translation and localization intelligence inside Salesforce. So I will come more around that in a bit. But before I start, I would like to just mention out what you see in front of you, which is a quote from Nelson Mandela, which I really find beautiful, which is, if I talk to you in a language that you understand, I speak to your head. But if I talk to you in your own language, I speak to your heart. So with that said, the first thing that I would like to speak about is actually how the world is looking today in regards to languages. So it's very common that we people think that, yeah, most of the world speak English, most of the world understand English. And it might be the most used language within business, but still there is very, very far away from being even close to half of the world understanding English in both writing and speaking. So if you're a marketeer that are working towards a global target group, these are the 5 facts you should really know about in regards to languages. So 14% of the world's population actually speak English. And it's also included with the ones that are not native speakers, as myself. I'm from Sweden, but I still speak English. 14% of the world speak Mandarin, 7.8% of the world speak Hindi, 6.8% of the world's population speak Spanish, and 3.5% of the world's population speak French. This means that if you're a global company and are communicating with several countries and continents, having 1 or 2 languages won't make it for you. If you have the 5 most languages spoken, which is the ones that I just listed for you, then at least you reach 50% of the population of the world. So when you're communicating with your clients, what are the different ways you actually can communicate with? What is translation, and what is, many people have heard me speak on LinkedIn and in different kind of keynote sessions about localization. And what is really translation versus localization? So then it's very important to look about the 2 different kind of categories we have in communication. The first one is what I usually call instant communication, also called real-time communication. That could be, for example, SMS, chat, chatbots. If you're using Salesforce, which most of you that are in this seminar is doing, then Chatter is one of those. So this means where 2 people are communicating with each other, and in real time, they need to actually understand each other so that the dialogue is keeping flowing. And we call that real-time communication. Then you got asynchronous communication, which more or less is that you send a message or an article, or the microsites that Neil just showed, etc., which won't require immediate response. So people might get influenced by it and go and fill in a form or contact you, etc. But it's not that they read something and immediately you're expecting them to react on it. So what is now the difference of these 2 in real life? So in front of you, you see example actually from Airbnb. So from the left side, on real-time communication, I'm going to speak about translation, and on the right side is localization. So on the left side, when it comes to real-time, then you're actually translating content, okay? You're converting from one language to another language and making sure that it's error-free. For example, Airbnb is a perfect example. Most of you in this webinar have at some point maybe booked Airbnb, and you can be 2 different native speakers. One is writing in Chinese and the other one is writing in English, and it makes sure that in real time this is translated. Now the same company Airbnb does actually campaigns towards those markets as well. And then they are localizing their content, which is not that much to do with only the language, which was the translation. So in the example you see in front of you, Airbnb in China, they are having, in the campaign picture, they are having what looks like to be the typical Chinese restaurant. And then they have their logo and slogan. Then when you're looking at their campaigns in France, for example, instead, they have the Eiffel Tower and their logo here and there. So this is localizing their content, which basically makes so that the audience can relate more to what you're actually saying. So everything that falls down under localization is expectations that will meet the cultural barrier. So just to give you more examples, this could be currency rates, date formats, images, fonts, and much more. Another very, very good company besides Airbnb that is using both translation and localization at scale to grow is actually Netflix. They're doing it beautifully. So in the banner above here in the top, what you see is a picture of how Netflix would look like in China. And they localize the content so much so that even in all the thumbnails and signs and everything, you only see Chinese letters. You don't see, if the car would say ice cream on it, then it would say in Chinese ice cream instead, but it will look like it's in the movie. So that is one way they're localizing their content, but another way they are doing it is by changing thumbnails based on your behavior, so that personalization and also localization. So one good example is this one, where a romantic movie in for example, Europe, they are showing two persons almost kissing each other, while to meet other cultural expectations in India and in Middle East, they chose for the same movie another thumbnail just to make it fit in to the cultural barriers a bit more. So enough with all of the best companies that does localization and translation. Back to Verbis and Venizum. How do we bring localization and translation into Salesforce? So Verbis is a translation application native built on Salesforce that you all can find on App Exchange. And it's built on 3 different layers that you see in front of you. So the bottom layer is built out of Google Translate Engine Volume 3. So that is what we call the generic translation engine. I guess most of the people here has at some point used Google Translate before. So it's nothing super wow, it's not super unique when it comes to the bottom layer, but the absolutely uniqueness come in the middle layer, which we call middleware translation memory. Now, middleware translation memory is where all companies enter their specific terminology being used. For example, that could be product brands, product names, membership clubs. I give you an example right away. So if you're Salesforce and you have the word Salesforce Lightning and you're translating it to other languages, most likely you want Salesforce Lightning to still be Lightning, but the rest of the text being translated. So one of the first thing our clients does is that they import all their product names, product brand names, and everything else to make sure that the translation is more and more accurate the more content that they produce. The top layer is that all of this is visualized throughout Salesforce. So that's why we are calling ourselves a layer of translation and localization intelligence layer on Salesforce, because we are compatible with all the clouds that are out on Salesforce. And then it's depending if it's real-time translation or if it's collaboration translation that you're doing together with translators, etc. So giving one super quick picture of how it looks like before working with Verbis, you see in front of you that there is often somebody high up in the hierarchy deciding that this is our marketing mix and this is the messaging we're going to go for this year, for example. Then you got somebody which I call the content creator that creates the actual content in one language often. gives it to a translation coordinator. This could be a Salesforce administrator. This could be a digital campaign manager. It varies a lot. And then this person is going back and forward with every translator to make sure that the content comes back and is accurate and translated. What Verbis basically does in these complex processes when many people are involved is that we just change the exactly same picture to look like this instead. Basically, the content that gets born in Salesforce never leaves Salesforce in order to be translated or localized, which makes sure that there is no room for human errors. We don't need to copy paste that much. And we now have a streamlined way of how to do translation and localization. So this is one example, for marketeers that are using Marketing Cloud or that are using Salesforce CMS and Experience Cloud that we just heard Neil speak about. So all those microsites that you build together with Salesforce Experience Cloud, then you can make sure that you have them valid in 20, 30, 40, 50, or even 200 languages if you wanted to. Now, looking at specific CMS, I want to give one example here from one of our clients that switched over. So when they were working with CMS, more or less, they were doing all these steps. I won't go through them all in detail, but it's more or less showing what they did and in which channel they were doing it. And as you see, some were using Google Translate, some were using email, Excel spreadsheets, going back and forward. But what we did was that we applied Verbis on top of their Salesforce org. And now they could reduce the process and make sure it's much shorter and actually cost them less money as well. So one key figure that they actually optimized was their external cost optimization, which went down with 70%. And the only reason being was that they could now measure translation and localization and knowing exactly how much their translators invoice them, et cetera, et cetera. Internal time optimization went down with 45%, and process time optimization went down with 60%. So this is specifically for CMS. Before I wrap it up, I don't really have the time to go into all our different cases, but everything you can come up with inside Salesforce that needs to be translated. And then I'm talking about both communication and content. When I'm talking about communication, then you will soon hear Moushumi from SMS 360 SMS app explaining about how to work with WhatsApp messages and SMS inside Salesforce. And there you can have everything translated. In the Salesforce chat, in Service Cloud or in Experience Cloud, where people are chatting with each other, you can have one agent in one country and he's serving clients all around the world. And he doesn't need to know all the languages. Verbis does it for them. So it's many use cases, every translation and localization you can come up with. Don't hesitate to either write me a question right now or ping me afterwards and I can show you all those use cases. But thank you, that was for me.
Super, thank you, Maziar, for that very interesting and insightful presentation. So I'm asking the first question here. Do you have to work with machine translation?
Absolutely not. So if you want to take off the bottom layer, so I showed a picture before here where we were built on 3 layers. So if you would like to take off your bottom layer and do not have any automatic translation engine that does the basic job that then sends over to a translator that proofreads it, then you can just take that away and the translator just works from scratch. But usually, not always, translators themselves use auto translation. So they will take your file anyway, put it in there, and then they will say that they did it manually.
Okay, thank you. And here's one that is quite typical and that I think you get quite a lot, is that usually machine translation, like a Google Translate, is not fully accurate. How is your accuracy at Verbis?
Good question. So everybody using Google Translate before have seen that you simply get some things wrong. And that is the main reason is that because it's a generic translation engine, meaning it's made so it can serve everybody in the world for everything that has to do with languages. But when you're working with a company, then our middleware, which you see here, which is called translation memory, that is picking up all the errors that gets along the way with machine learning and make sure that your translation memory just gets better and better and better and better. So you are actually creating as much content as possible, which makes the translation and localization accurate.
Great, thank you, Maziar. Here's another one that's a big one that we tend to get, which is, where does my data get stored?
This one was a good one. So this is a super simple one. And this is what I absolutely love by being native built on Salesforce. So it goes nowhere else than your current Salesforce servers. So the security assessments for us is what I love. They go like this.
Super. Another one, Maziar, is, can translators work with this as well? Sorry, can translators work with this as well and connect their preferred system?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're all about making sure that you can collaborate with all your content creators and translators inside Salesforce. Now, if we need to be as a middleman where we connect into your translator system to make sure that it's seamlessly going over to them, we do that already today. We got different clients using different systems such as SDL or XDM, etc. But then naturally, you're deciding that your data is leaving Salesforce and going somewhere else. That's your own decision.
Got it. I think we have time for one last one, Maziar, and that is, will you also be able to translate SMS, notes, and other simpler communication on Salesforce?
Yes. So simple answer, yes. Everything you can see in Salesforce, we can most likely, or we can translate and localize. So the simple answer is yes.
Okay, I think we've got 1 more minute here, and we just got a final question in here. Let's see if we can squeeze this one in as well. What about analytics in real time to make larger business decisions and or changes in business models based on the larger community and the market?
I don't know who said that question, but I absolutely love that one. Yes. So that was the first thing we saw when we started up Venizum, that companies that have been working with translation and localization for 20 years with the same company, they don't have any data or any dashboard or anything around it. Now with Venizum and Verbis, when you're using us, you can, as any other thing, any other dashboard you build in Salesforce, have a translation dashboard where you tailor it yourself. How many words did we translate this month? How many errors did we have? How many new words did we add to the translation? You tailor it. So the answer is, once again, yes.
Okay, super. Thank you, Maziar, and thank you once again for the insights and for asking the questions. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
So we now move to the third of 4 presenters today, and the next presenter is Moushumi Bhattacharya, and she is the VP of Sales at 360 SMS app, working with enterprise clients. Previously in her career, Moushumi has worked with companies such as Virpo, Deloitte, and Oracle, giving her the full 360-degree view of how the cloud ecosystem has been expanding and helping in the digital transformation of businesses. Today, her main focus is in maintaining and growing the presence of the 360 SMS app in the Salesforce CRM ecosystem. Moushumi, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Bora. Thank you, everybody. It's been great listening to each of you. It's been a wonderful session so far, and thank you all for joining to listen to our experiences. We have a great topic with respect to marketing communication. A lot of things are happening in the world of marketing with respect to communication. with respect to quality, with respect to compliance, and with respect to making sure it's available for business use. And what better topic than to talk about how messaging is bringing a revolution in marketing activities. So when we talk about marketing communication, what are the typical major challenges faced by all of us? Basically all the marketing teams talk about our company or any other company. What is the typical challenges faced by the traditional mode of marketing? Preferences are hard to manage. With the regulations coming into picture, more and more stringent compliance is coming into picture, and the third-party data going away, it's getting more and more difficult to manage the data and to manage the preferences. Code slows down the execution. Do we expect all marketers and end users to code anymore? That takes up a lot of time. Do you follow up and nurture consistently throughout the life cycle? How about building the relationships? We need to have deeper interactions, customer interactions. Is the traditional mode of marketing enough to build relationships, personalize, nurture, and own the customers? How many channels can you unify and automate the campaigns on? What about profiling the customers? Profiling customers for sales and provisioning the branded phone numbers is quite difficult. And that is where we have come with a solution. Before talking about the solution, I would like to talk about the advantages what we bring in case of a marketing for any kind of funnel stage. This is a data which we have found out, which we have created based on our research. There has been a 67% increase in lead generation when the customers have used their messaging solution. There is a 4x lead conversion, 47% reduced human intervention with the help of automated chatbot solutions. There's been a 53% increase of repeat purchases. What happens as a part of a marketing funnel in various stages, right? How does the SMS app or the SMS solution help you in case of various marketing in various marketing stage? It has helped in brand awareness. Think about it as if when you are using a traditional mode of communication or maybe an email channel, how many of you really open your emails and check them on a day-to-day activity? And that is where we have come up with the messaging solution. Of course, compared to an email, if you receive an SMS or a WhatsApp, what are your chances of responding to them? Obviously, you can't ignore the message, right? And at least if I send you a WhatsApp communication, it will still get your attention. And that is where my brand awareness happens. Lead generation. Again, in case of emails, people tend to miss the email message communications. And that is where, with more and more messaging channels coming up, say WhatsApp or Facebook, Instagram, SMS, the lead generation becomes faster and easier. Conversion and pre-sales. Your conversion stage, your pre-sale stage gets shorter. Conversion gets quicker, pre-sale stage gets shorter because of the message, because of the personalized touch which you're giving along with the messaging solution. Retention and renewals. When you are in creating a relationship with the customer, when you are building a relationship via WhatsApp or an Instagram or a Facebook, any kind of social media page, you are creating a personal bond with the customer. And that is where you will have higher chances of retaining the customer and renewing your deals, right? Expanding them as well. There are repeat orders, there are referrals again. Relationship build, it's all about the relationship. It's all about customer relationship management. And what better way to do than to use your messaging channel? Because again, that's the most frequent and the most rapidly used communication mode these days. Talking about, again, our SMS app, what kind of a solution is it? What do you understand by a one-stop solution? This is what it is. one app, one number, and we can have 8 different channels. 8 channels is what I'm talking about, are what we already have live. With every release, we are coming up with new functionalities, new features, as well as new channels too. You talk about WhatsApp, we are there. You talk about SMS, we are there. MMS. We also have the CTI integrated. All of these native to Salesforce. You talk about ringless voicemail, you talk about Facebook Messenger, Instagram, we're all there. We're present in all channels. Not only that, in future, very soon, we are also coming up with the Line, the Kakao Talk as well. So with every release, something major comes up, any new functionality, we talk about automations, the chatbots, the bulk messages, everything is all pre-built. You just plug in, install, and you're ready to go. How have we, I also wanted to share, while I'm talking to you, I wanted to share about how we have come up with this kind of a solution. What is the history behind this? Whatever data points I'm giving you so far, how have we come up with this? We have actually followed a typical sliced bread approach. Again, it might seem strange. How can a marketing be compared with a sliced bread approach? So basically, human beings have produced and eaten bread for thousands of years. But the sliced bread has only been around for less than 100 years. It's been, I guess, around since 1928. And it has become a mainstay on grocery shelves and in all our homes. But what was the history of this? A successful jeweler, he identified a common problem while speaking with his female customers, that slicing bread was a pain. At the time, bread was sold whole to preserve freshness, but the jeweler pondered the feasibility of selling bread pre-sliced. He recognized the need and the potential market for pre-sliced bread. So he did a little market research in the form of a questionnaire published in several large newspapers to determine an acceptable slice thickness. And guess what? The ad garnered about 3,000 responses. And in 1916, he sold his jewelry business and filed a patent for his single-step bread slicing machine. And the rest is history. Again, the reason why I mentioned about the sliced bread approach was because we have taken the similar approach for launching our SMS app around 4 years ago. We followed this approach. We had been a Salesforce consulting partner for about 9 years. But while interacting with our customers, we identified the common problem with the marketing approach, where they were limited to traditional modes of marketing. Responses were getting lowered, and a lot of mails went unread. The marketing and salespeople started connecting with their customers via SMS, WhatsApp, and other channels. But then there was a huge data loss, as these details were not getting stored anywhere. We conducted surveys with the customers. Based on the responses, we created our messaging solution. And then we listed in the app exchange. The sales kept on increasing every year exponentially. This is what I spoke about, what we did. I spoke about our research. But again, Gartner's words cannot be ignored. So as per Gartner, SMS remains an effective yet underutilized mobile tactic among market leaders. This has been said by none other than the research director of Gartner. What is the value proposition as per Gartner when it comes to messaging solution? It improvises the customer engagement. Any marketer who employs SMS are more advanced in their ability to leverage the unique capabilities of mobile. SMS provides a reach that is unmatched by all other messaging channels. And this is not about SMS alone. We have found that even with WhatsApp, with various countries, each of the country has got its own preferred mode of communication. There are some, say for example, in US, SMS is a preferred mode of communication. In Europe, in India, WhatsApp is used as a preferred mode of communication. In Korea, there's Kakao Talk. In Japan, people use WeChat. Instagram and Facebook are common modes of communication everywhere. Simplified enrollment. Enrolling in an SMS campaign typically only takes two steps. One, just set a keyword to register shortcode and then reply with why if your response is yes. In case you want to opt in. In case you want to opt out, a no or an opt-out option is always there. And this is the favorite point of mine by Gartner, which clearly shows the statistics on elevated read and response rates. You see here, the data talks about it. The data talks itself. I mean, the email marketing, you just get 20% open rates, while SMS, 98%. Whereas in case of response, 6% response for emails, while SMS gives you 45% response. I mean, this clearly shows the difference. This clearly shows the value proposition and why any kind of Salesforce users, any Salesforce user who is using Salesforce needs to adapt to the message mode of communication. The 360 SMS app, again, who we are, what have we done in case of the SMS solution, what has been our history again as a industry leader to become an industry leader in messaging solution. We are an industry recognized technology native to Salesforce. I know this word native to Salesforce should have come before, but I wanted to go with the history first, start with the history, and then come to the bang on point. Why is our native app, or rather our SMS solution, what is it about and how is it important when it comes to compliance and helping you with your data? This is native to Salesforce, which means we don't store your data. Your data is being stored in Salesforce. What we are doing is we are using our data, which is stored in Salesforce, and using the best practices of messaging to send and receive message responses. Messages can be sent, the communication can happen in either one-to-one basis or in blast message solution, right? So you can send blast messages, you can have a one-to-one communication, you can have multiple conversations where you can use a user can open multiple boxes for having multiple conversations with multiple different customers. But all of it in the single screen view of Salesforce. You can also have the automated chats based on keywords without any code, which shows our credibility. We have 800 plus 5-star reviews on App Exchange, low code and no code. It's just about plugging in and playing the solution. It's an App Exchange product. You plug in and you're ready to go. Obviously, we have to follow certain protocols like getting the templates approved for WhatsApp. So based on each of the channel, they have their own business protocols to be followed. But from our app, you're ready to go the moment you install within a couple of hours. We have Salesforce, we have solutions, not just about SMS app. We have other products like the CTI, as I mentioned. We have other solutions like the Verify, the Mail. Everything is embedded in Salesforce. And we are the mature, trusted technology. We are number one when it comes to any messaging solution, because we do not believe in coding. We believe in giving you a zero code solution, which you can install in your Salesforce and just start using it. 1,000 plus customers reached worldwide. As I said, 15 minutes. It takes 15 minutes to install it for a mid-size customer. Obviously, for 1 to 2 hours when there are more than 2,000, 3,000 plus users. It depends, because obviously we have to follow certain protocols where we go from sandbox to production, and that's where it's all about. That's what it's all about. Global teams and footprints. We have offices in the US and we have 5 offices in India. And we are platinum partners of Salesforce. Do I need to say more about us? In the industry agnostic solution, we are present in every industry. You name an industry and we are there. However, I have tried to keep a few of the key industries where we are more predominantly present: healthcare, recruitment, real estate, mortgage, professional services, automobile, retail, education, and NPO. Here it is about few of the customers, key customers, the logos. I mean, we have just tried to keep a few of them. As you know, we have 1,000+ customers. Couldn't get all of them, but yes, here we have added a few of the customers from each of the industry verticals I've mentioned. Like you see here, Abbott, Merck, they are all from the healthcare. The NPO industry, American Red Cross, which is one of the biggest in the NPO industry, they are doing the donor management. We have the donor management, we have the stakeholder management of the NPOs with the SMS app. We have for the healthcare industry, again, the healthcare practitioners, the patients, the medical representatives. The entire interaction and the conversation is getting streamlined with the help of the SMS app. The law firm for the professional services industry, right? The lawyers are using our SMS app to interact with their customers. The legal firms are interacting with the stakeholders. They are keeping the messages automated. They are storing the messages in the Salesforce application, but the same Salesforce application is being used to send and receive messages from their customers. The Real Value Capital, the Robinson and Henry lawyers, very much predominant in the legal industry. We have also the recruitment industry, where we have Page Group, which is one of the biggest in the recruitment industry. They have been using the SMS app to speak to their recruiters, to speak to the candidates, schedule the interviews. Everything is getting automated in the system. The human intervention is getting reduced and more conversations are happening. Conversations are getting more frequent because of these multiple channel SMS messaging solution. Using Salesforce Marketing Cloud, since it is again about marketing, so Marketing Cloud plays a very important role. Earlier, as a historically, for our SMS app, a user needed to have a sales cloud or a service cloud, which is still needed. But again, before there was a task which had to be created when using a marketing cloud. But we have come up with a solution for that too, where we have a connector now. Whatever data is stored, whatever message templates are stored in the sales cloud, that automatically comes to the marketing cloud, and the marketing cloud is ready to go. User is ready to go to send messages. Easily synchronize the 360-degree views in Salesforce. So you talk about Sales Cloud or the Marketing Cloud, the view is completely synchronized, and the marketing user can easily use the data to send and receive messages. When you need a journey builder to send messages, what we have brought as a typical drag and drop feature on the Marketing Cloud. So you need not spend too much of time on the journey builder either. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to reduce your time and effort, because time is money. We are helping you save your time and do more with the help of automations and the best practices which we are already bringing on the table. Simplify creation and use of message templates by teams, and eliminate dependence of tasks in the Marketing Cloud, just as I mentioned. Last but not the least, compliance is the most important feature for the success of any communication, any marketing communication. It's all about the compliance and the consent. And here we are following strongly adhering to the compliance in the Marketing Cloud as well as our SMS app. We complete the compliance for opt-ins and opt-outs. They're fully configurable. You need not code. Just configure them, configure the communication controls, set just a few clicks, and the controls are set, and your compliance is ready. Create your own custom criteria for your opt-ins and opt-out. It can be just a single click of mouse, and you can have a few clicks of mouse, and you can have the users add their own custom criteria. It's not about just the compliances which are set up pre-built, but users can also create their own custom compliances using a click of a button. No code again. Manage preferences. Don't get blocked completely. You know how it is, right? Am I audible?
We lost you a little bit in the sound. Yes, perfect. Now we hear you.
Perfect. So when we manage the preferences, So we will be able to, if we manage the preferences well, we would be able to avoid spamming the customers, because that's the biggest risk for any kind of marketing activity. So we can create, or we can have the choice. The customers get the choice. Our customers get the choice to have the messaging preferences, have their own customers opt in or opt out of messages based on the selected channels, geographies, languages, departments, or individuals. You name them and we can do it. That's how strong and powerful our compliance system is. Again, this is something which is benefiting a lot for the healthcare, finance, mortgage industry, because of course the data is very critical for them. With this, I am coming to the end of the presentation.
So Moushumi, thank you very much for sharing that. It's very clear that you're very passionate about what you do. It comes across. So we have a question here that says that does the app support messaging in French?
Absolutely. I mean, the app does support messaging in French, and that is where, we spoke about it, right? That we are completely native to Salesforce. When it comes to Venizum, not just French, any other language, any translation, any localization, we can do it together. So Venizum uses their translation tool. We have our SMS app. For you, it's a single view, single screen view on Salesforce.
Moushumi, sorry, please continue.
Yeah. So does it answer your question?
I think so. They cannot respond, but I'm sure it did. So Moushumi, thank you very much for that. And I'm going to move on to the next speaker. So last but not least, we have Anil Pilania. So Anil is the managing director of Horizontal Digital Salesforce Practice. With his passion for the Salesforce ecosystem, Anil is also the founder and group leader for Salesforce Jaipur Marketeers Initiative. Today, his main focus is maintaining a high-performing consulting team and helping Horizontal Digital to grow its Salesforce practice and business. Anil, over to you.
Thank you so much, Bora. Thank you, everyone. This is Anil Pilania here. I am based out of Jaipur in India. And thank you so much for having me here. And even more so, thank you for being on this webinar, giving your valuable time to us, listening to our experiences, and listening to what we have been doing in the world of marketing communication through Salesforce Experience Cloud and Marketing Cloud. So a little bit about my company. I work at Horizontal Digital, which is a global premium boutique experience forward digital consultancy. Experience forward is where we at Horizontal Digital leverage our history in consulting customer experiences, our passion for marketing technology, and our commitment to business values through driving seamless, frictionless digital experiences. And for us, Experience Forward is a mindset. It's a sensibility that puts people at the absolute center of everything that we do for our clients. So before I start talking about how we can bring the world of Salesforce Experience Cloud and Salesforce Marketing Cloud together, I just wanted to speak for a minute on customer experience in general. And I find this headline very fascinating and very relevant in today's world, especially after experiencing more than 2 years of a pandemic. And it says, customer experience is the last battleground. And I couldn't agree more with this, and I'm sure you would too. Before pandemic, there was always an argument in favor of and against for customer experiences when it comes to CIOs, CTOs, CMOs, and other C-level executives to make an investment decision into creating digital experiences, not just for their customers, but also for their employees and anyone else they were interacting with. This pandemic just nullified that argument, in my personal opinion, and put it to rest. After this pandemic, after experiencing, going through this pandemic, I think almost all businesses across the globe have now realized that customer experience is their last battleground. And I call it their last battleground is because this is where they can differentiate themselves. This is where they can get ahead of their competition. Everyone is competing fiercely on traditional key matrices such as cost, such as quality, such as value. But very few have realized very early in their businesses that customer experience is going to be the new differentiator of the value proposition that they bring forth to their customers and to their employees. Gartner did a survey and found out that 89% of the companies, they now compete on the basis of customer experience. And I am sure that all of you are also competing based on customer experience as a consumer as well as a service provider. Similarly, some time ago, when US Chambers of Commerce did a survey, they found out that 67% of the customers switch brands, not due to the prices or the features that those brands offer, but due to poor customer experience and perceived lack of attention. And I can give you a real-time example from my own personal life from just a couple of days ago. So I have this very best internet service provider whom I have been a customer for over 3 years now. Amazing service, amazing quality of service. And over the last 2 years, they have gone through a significant digital transformation, and they have created best-in-class digital experiences for customers like me on their digital experience platforms / websites, as well as on their mobile app. But a few days ago, the internet went down and I wanted to log a complaint. So as an informed consumer, I opened up their app. I went through all the processes there. There were a lot of chatbots. There was a lot of self-help available, but none of it resolved my problem. There was even a self-diagnostic tool available there. And it said everything was okay. And still my internet was not working. And there was no way that I can find on that app to be able to speak to a customer service. It just kept routing me to a chatbot or to a knowledge base. So I thought I'll try my luck on their digital experience platform, went to their website, same thing happened. And then one fine corner, I found out that this is the number that I can call and log my complaint. I call that number and it does not exist because I called it from some other service provider. Now, in order for me to reach out to them over a phone, I must be their phone consumer too. And that is exactly where the disconnected experience that as a consumer I went through. And I was hoping to switch my mobile provider to this internet service provider, but this one disconnected experience made me change my mind. That is the power of customer experience these days. Therefore, culminating into truly connected experiences is the key for every business out there, more so after experiencing this pandemic. If any business or brand is not able to culminate a truly connected experiences across their sales, service, commerce, marketing, or any other digital touch point of theirs, that business and brand is already behind in the competition. With that, I will bring you all back to what Neil has presented us today. So Salesforce in 2020 rebranded their community platform to Experience Cloud. And the example I just gave you for customer experience Maybe I'll ask Neil a question if that was one of the reason why Salesforce has rebranded Community Cloud to Experience Cloud. But here, this slides just gives you a quick summary of what Salesforce content management system is. In my opinion, and in one sentences, I would say this is going to become, and most probably is the heart of all the digital experiences that Salesforce Customer 360 platform is serving today and is aiming to serve tomorrow. Why so? And here is where I'll take another example. So I am a subscriber of this e-commerce storefront in India. And I received an email about a couple of months ago, during Christmas time, that, hey Anil, are you interested in this brand and shoes because you play cricket? Here is some offer for you. The next morning, I was going through my emails. I saw that email, it was offering me some 50% discount. So I thought I'll just go check it out. So I clicked on the image that was in my email of the brand and the shoes that I like, hoping that it will take me to the e-storefront on the same product page. And when I clicked, it took me to a page of a different brand and a different shoe. That was not my preferences. So over email, as a consumer, as a customer, I have an experience which is very personalized, very relevant. And when I take an action, I end up on a storefront to an experience which is not personalized, not relevant, and not connected. That is a simple use case that makes me say and makes me believe that Salesforce CMS could change it all for Salesforce Customer 360 platform. And I'll not go through some of these bullet points because Neil has already touched upon, but you get the gist of having a centralized content management system, which is able to syndicate all your content to all your channels and to all your digital touchpoints of your brand, is the key to a connected customer experience for your brand. So I think, and I believe a lot of you already know that Salesforce CMS offers a seamless connected experience. And in some way we can call it headful experience for solutions such as Experience Cloud, B2B marketing, B2B commerce on Lightning, and even B2C commerce within the Salesforce ecosystem. But for Salesforce Marketing Cloud, there is no native way that exists as of today for Salesforce CMS to be able to syndicate its content to marketing clouds for marketeers to be able to use it. There is a programmatic way that exists, and you can write your own solution and build a solution to be able to do that, but no native out of the box way that exists. And pointing you back to my recent experience of receiving a personalized email, me taking action, and it taking me to a very disjointed and disconnected experience, is the reason why it is extremely important to bring Salesforce CMS and Marketing Cloud together so that you can create that cohesive, frictionless, seamless, connected digital experience, not just between your sales, service, and commerce touchpoints, but also your marketing touchpoint. And we'll talk about it a little bit more in detail. Okay. So now there is a not programmatic way that exists for you to go and build your own solution for this. But we have already done that for you. So we worked with Salesforce. We joined hands with them about a year and a half ago to deliberate how we can go about building a solution between Salesforce CMS and Marketing Cloud for creating that seamless digital experiences for marketeers as well as customers. We came up with two ideas. Idea number one we refer to it CMS Connect. It is a app exchange package, which you can install in your Salesforce instance. What it does is it just creates a copy of your content from Salesforce CMS, periodically puts it into your Marketing Cloud content builder. So essentially you are creating a copy of all your content from CMS into Marketing Cloud before your marketers can use that content and assets in emails. But it was not able to serve a few use cases where customers wanted a single source of truth. They did not want to create copy of the content and let anyone play with the copy, which in some cases may not be an approved one. So we created another solution. We call it CMS Sync. What it does, and I'll show it now in a demo, you can dynamically refer all your content from Salesforce CMS directly into Marketing Cloud in real time with a click of a button. And before I say more about it, let's just go and take a look at CMS Sync for yourself.
CMS Sync 2.0 is an easy way to integrate CMS data from Salesforce CMS into Marketing Cloud. This enterprise product utilizes custom content block to insert images, text, URL, etc. into your email. Let's say a marketer is asked to create a newsletter for his company's Dreamforce plans and is expected to use all the pre-approved content from CMS. So this is how he can quickly design a newsletter using CMS Sync. Just drag and drop CMS Sync 2.0 custom content block into the email. It would ask to log in with the Salesforce credentials where your CMS data resides. Once you have logged in with the credentials, you can select this channel. It will display all the content type that are available. It contains of all the standard as well as custom content type. On the UI, there are options like selecting items per page, navigating to multiple pages to select the right content for the email, or just searching your content using the keywords. Like in this case, I can search an image using a few keywords. Or select any other content type. Again. Once I select any content type, I just see all the nodes that are available in that particular content type, including rich text, image, URL, etc. So if I click on rich text and click next, I'm provided with all the editing options right inside of Marketing Cloud. So the marketer can play with the content inside the Marketing Cloud itself and insert the updated version as and when needed. Once the content has been inserted, I'm able to just click on that custom content block again, and I can see the updated settings which I previously applied for this rich text. I can move to previous page to select any other node or just a new content altogether. So in this case, I'm selecting an image and inserting right here. So I see a few options to update the image, like resizing, aligning it to left, center or right, or I can auto scale as well. So in this case, I am resizing the image, aligning it to center, and I can also provide a hyperlink to the image. If I want to insert a document into the email, I can just go here and select the standard document type, select the document. So for document, we are generating a public URL. So if I select the source type and click on next, I get an option to enter a hypertext for this document, which is inserted as it is in the email. So this is all in all a very seamless experience wherein marketer can utilize CMS content by staying right inside Marketing Cloud. Thanks for watching and get in touch with Horizontal in case of any questions. CMS Sync.
Right. So that's CMS Sync for you, everybody. Custom content block. With a click of a button, you can access your Salesforce CMS, both standard and custom content type, all node types, right in your Marketing Cloud instance in your email designer, and you can use it as you design your email in real time by reference. It does not create copy of your content there. You are accessing it directly from your CMS. So some of the features I've just called out of CMS Sync as a solution here. You are referring to your CMS content dynamically, not creating a copy. You have the ability to curate this content on the fly, because as we all know, marketers always like to play with the content while designing the email. So they have some ability to curate that content on the fly. It is available for all public channels. So only the public channels is from where you can syndicate your CMS content into Marketing Cloud. Some of these features for you. CMS Connect, on the other hand, and I'm not going to show you the demo of this, is again more of a moving content from Salesforce CMS into the Marketing Cloud, where you can integrate multiple Marketing Cloud business units. You can hand off the transfer of content from CMS to Marketing Cloud. You can control it. You can put it over a schedule. You can even decide which node for which content type that you want to sync or you do not want to sync. And there are various use cases that you can use CMS content for. Now that I'm talking about both the solution, you may have a question popping up in your mind that which app is right for you. I'll give you a simple trick. If you want more control over your content, CMS Connect is a solution, because you'll always have your own copy of content to play with, and having your own copy meaning you'll have more control. As well as if you need an enterprise level business unit configurability, CMS Connect is better suited to your use case and needs. Whereas if you are looking for a lightning quick way to directly use content in your email from Salesforce CMS, CMS Sync is your way to go. Okay, with that, I have covered the content that I wanted to share with all of you. Thank you, everybody. Back to you, Gaurav.
Anil, thank you very much for sharing that. So we have about 4 minutes left, and we're going to take some questions for you, Anil. Before I do that, though, I just want to share a little thing for everybody who's on the call. So tomorrow, you will receive, so we will share the recording of this webinar. You will also receive the presentation, and you will also receive a few videos with regards to some of the solutions that was discussed. So you will receive some content from the team here. If you do want to book any time with any of the presenters today, do connect with them on LinkedIn and send an email, and of course they will gladly do that. Okay, so with that said and that out of the way, Anil, some questions for you. So does the CMS Sync create a copy of CMS content in Marketing Cloud Content Builder while using the content?
No, it does not. And that's the difference between CMS Sync and CMS Connect. Using CMS Sync, you are directly dynamically referring your content from CMS into Marketing Cloud. And when you do that and you send out an email to your audience, and your email receives those images from Salesforce CMS in that email, or a document or a text, know that this is publicly referable CMS Sync content that you are seeing from Salesforce CMS. And that is the reason that you need to have a public channel to be able to access it when that email renders in your inbox. So the answer is no, it does not.
Okay, thank you, Anil. Another one. If I curate if I curate CMS content on the fly while inserting it into the email, does the curated content update the CMS content?
Very good question. The answer is no, it does not. Because the whole idea of using any content management system, for that matter, is you would like to have a single source of truth for your content, for your assets, which are pre-approved, and you are able to syndicate those content assets to all your touch points as well as across all your channels. So if you allow on the fly curation of a content and let it go back into your Salesforce CMS, it serves no longer as a single source of truth. So keeping that in mind, no, we do not allow that with CMS Sync.
Okay, super. So Anil and the rest of the presenters, thank you very, very much for today. And thank you for those who listened. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask all 4 presenters to turn on their cameras so we can see all of you, please. And the time is up now. So for those of you, obviously, that want and need to pop off, you're welcome to, of course. And again, huge thank you. And I speak for all of us for taking the time to listen to these really great insights today. But for those of you that do want to stay on and would like to ask questions that are not only just individually to each of these presenters, but that kind of cross over between the different subjects that we've discussed today, we are happy to stay on and take those questions. Or if there's anything else that you would like to send in the chat around what was discussed today, I believe that we will stay on a little bit longer for those of you who would like to. For those of you that need to leave, of course, again, thank you again for joining. And for those of you who want to stay and ask some more questions, we're happy to stay on a little bit longer. There is one question. It's a question for Moushumi. Will I be able to send and receive messages through my mobile?
Absolutely. So you can send as well as receive your messages, be it your SMS or WhatsApp or any channel. It's a bi-directional based on of course, it depends on the TRAI rule, telecom regulation rule. For example, in India, you can only send outbound messages, but for WhatsApp or any other communication channel, it is bi-directional. So the app supports bi-directional messaging communication.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Moushumi. We had Bora had a hard stop, so he needed to jump. I actually got one question. I think it's for you, Neil. I thought initially it was for me, but I think you should cover this one. It says, it came actually on LinkedIn privately to me that says, hey man, Neil also showed some translation functionalities on CMS. Is that overlapping with Venizum solution or what is the difference?
Good tie-in. So I showed on the detail page that you're able to view the translations. Venizum is actually a partner. They have an app exchange app called Verbis for translations. And so we partner with them. While you can export and import for translations from our CMS system. So essentially, you're going to get the contents in a standard format for translation XLIF. And then the idea is that you send them to your vendors for translating. But if you're using Verbis, it makes it a whole lot easier. They are, because they're on the platform, you could stay within Salesforce. You could go over to your Verbis page and manage your translations there. So, and then it'll get re-imported back into CMS. So Verbis can do the translations, and CMS, as Neil mentioned, being the source of truth, is where you can see the translations.
Perfect. Yeah, I would give the actually same answer. So thank you for that, Neil. I also got another one for, I think it's for you, Anil, saying, which are some of the clients that Horizontal Digital work with today, and which industries are they experts in? You're on mute, Anil.
Yep. I may not be able to share the client name, but I can share industries. We work almost across all the industries in B2B space and specific industries in B2C. Our prominent industries that we operate in are manufacturing, retail, healthcare and life sciences, tourism, real estate, construction, and a couple more.
Perfect. Thank you for that. I get one. I think this one is in general. I don't know who this one is, but I think we have an answer for it. And it is, do you have common client cases that you, for example, several of you is working with? And I know, yeah, at least from Venizum side, we're working with some different cases with all of you guys. So yeah, I mean, for the ones that have been listening in, we're all compatible with each other. We're all partners here. We're in the Salesforce ecosystem, and we made sure that our solutions quite seamlessly work with each other. Of course, Venizum together with Moushumi's solution looks different compared to Venizum together with Anil and Horizontal solution, but it's still, we are working seamlessly with each other. From case to case. Any of you guys want to add anything to that if we're working with common client cases together?
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know Venizum, for example, has been on some calls with myself to try to help clients use cases. So certainly know we have some mutual clients.
Same with us, Venizum, and we have been working on a use case where we are working on translating for various European countries, Spanish, French, etc. And we are working on the use case where the messages are sent from Salesforce, while each of the country, they receive their localized version of the messages. So they can view the localized version of the messages. Typical use case.
Yeah, very
any customer who needs localization and messaging together, typical use case for that.
Yeah. If no more question comes up, I only got 2 more of them that I've received privately here. It is for you, Neil, I would guess. The question is, can I have live chat on Experience Cloud as well?
Yeah, you can have live chat on a site. I'd encourage you to try to look for a demo of it. If you were to reach out to me through some means, I also want to mention that we have what we call a Trailblazer community. It's our forum, and there is an Experience Cloud group, which is monitored by myself and others there. So it'd be a good place to ask, and could try to find you resources and a demo of live chat capabilities.
Perfect. Thank you. And this one is funny, Moushumi. The last question I see, I always get home blind to this and think everybody knows this, and I'm throwing it around several times, but it's specifically for you and me, saying both Moushumi and Maziar mentioned native on Salesforce. What does that even mean?
Well, that's a great question, because yeah, of course, we have been talking about native to Salesforce. What it means is your data resides in Salesforce, right? And Salesforce, being the #1 CRM solution, follows all the compliance rules. So any application can be either native or it needs to be integrated. So being native to Salesforce means you need not integrate the solution with Salesforce separately. You just need to, it's just a few plug and play kind of an app where you add it with the Salesforce. And as an end user, for me, the entire application will look as one application on Salesforce. You're not switching you're not switching any application. It's all single screen view. And the best part about it is, say, for example, Venizum has got the translation app and we have got the SMS app, right? So when we add both the apps on Salesforce, we need not perform any separate integration activities or efforts for integrating our applications separately. It's all, since both are on Salesforce, automatically they can interact and talk.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. I usually take the analogy of, the iPhone and the App Store, saying that if Neil and his crew is the iPhone, then me, Horizontal, and SMS 360, we are the apps in the App Store. So you just simply go download us, right. And we make sure all your data and everything is inside Salesforce. Of course, you have apps which is not native on Salesforce as well, which means that your data can go somewhere else or so, and you just need to look that up. But we that are native on Salesforce, our best thing in our sales process is our security reviews. When we come to security review, they all attack us the IT departments and then like, wait a minute, I think we did this already when we were buying Salesforce. You guys are the same service, right? Yes, we are. Oh, okay. Then no need for a deep dive security.
Yeah.
So I hope we covered that question. I don't have any more questions. I think we could wrap it up here. As Bora said, we will send out everything tomorrow. We went over time due to having so much questions that was all the time coming up. So I see that we're not a lot of participants that are left here, but if anybody have any other question or, want to speak to us, feel free to either write in the chat, or now, since we're not so many, you're even allowed to share your camera and microphone and ask a question if you want to. Otherwise, we will send out the email tomorrow.